know we've talked about this for a long time, but how does it feel that it's here, that you guys are going to play a game here?
Parrish, it's a little surreal, honestly. I don't take a lot of time to reflect because my job is pretty consuming. I do realize, when I look at numbers, but man, I've been here a long time. 10 years is a long time. It's a long time to be a college basketball coach, much less at one place. And I've only been in here, I told you guys before, yesterday was the third time I'd stepped foot in the facility. My dad's an electrician, 46 years with the same company. From the 7th grade on, in the summer when I was out of school, I was his helper. So I have seen my share of construction sites. And as a result, when I go into a construction site, it doesn't conjure up great memories for me. It conjures up work. This is real work. I got to go do something else. I better make a basket or study harder. This is real work. I can't do this. So I came in it when it was just beginning, and you could kind of see the scope of it. And then I came back a month or two ago, and it was starting to take shape. But yesterday, when they had the court set up, the baskets up, the lights going, it was surreal to me. That honestly the vision has come to reality, and there's so many people that have been involved in making that happen. I told our team, you don't get many favors in life. Not many people are gonna do you a solid. I think we all realize that as adults. And there's not a guy on our team that had anything to do with the building of this building, and yet now they get the opportunity to reap the benefit of that. They should be so excited and grateful for the opportunity, as am I. And I've got 10 years of sweat equity into this. I look back last night, I don't sleep much, especially during the season, and Thursday night will be my 320th game as the head coach at Ole Miss. And honestly, walking in this building yesterday, I feel like it's my first game. That's the truth. That's how I feel. Just super excited about, wow, I can't believe this is actually happening. And I want to infuse that into our team. I know our team was very, very disappointed in the way we played against Kentucky. I think Ole Miss is now 2-53 in Rupp Arena, so I wasn't necessarily chalking that up as an easy W. However, I was hoping we would play better, and we certainly did not play very well. And it left a bad taste in our mouth. And I think coming in here yesterday and shooting the ball and seeing this and, again, feeling it for the first time, I know our guys are really looking forward to Thursday night.
In all those 10 years, when there was always talk about a new arena and all that stuff, when was the first time you really thought to yourself, they're actually going to do this?
Well, if you remember, when we came out and with the hard hats on and the shovels, and that seemed like a lifetime ago, and you could see the big hole, and they would say, hey, man, you want to come look at the hole again today? And, we got a brick up. We got some bricks. We got a wall. You want to come look at the wall? And I just didn't, because, again, my job is too consuming. I don't have time to think about that. We're trying to, get better, win a game. I hope to see the hole become fruition. I got to win some games or somebody else will walk in here on opening night. So I understood that completely, and I didn't even really think about it until yesterday. Until walking in here and seeing it at the scope that it is. And you guys know me, I'm not Mr. Sunny disposition. That's just not how I'm wired. And so I knew the building was going to be nice. I know it was going to be done to the Ole Miss standard. I had seen a lot of the plans and the renderings and had some conversations about how this thing was going to develop. But even I was blown away at how nice the facility is. So I cannot wait for our fans to walk in here Thursday night, because I know many of them have been in here and they've seen the tour and they think, oh, okay, we're going to go to the arena and okay, it's time. We got our money out of Tad Smith. It's 50 years old. So if we have to, okay, we'll build another one. But they are going to be blown away when they come in and see how nice this is. Thursday night is the start of a new chapter in Ole Miss basketball. This is a complete game changer.
How excited are you to bring recruits into this building as opposed to?
Well, I'll tell you how excited I am. We'll have more recruits in Thursday and Saturday than we have had at a single game maybe since I've been here. And that is not by accident. That is by design. It's one thing to talk about when they broke ground and they said, okay, we're going to build a new arena. Is that going to help recruiting? No. We got a big hole in the ground. Is that going to help recruiting? No. Thursday night will help recruiting. When you can walk in and see it and sense it, it gives us an opportunity now to say, okay, what's the excuse now? We've got everything that you need to be successful, and it puts us in the game.
How did you handle Tad Smith from a recruiting standpoint? I mean, you've gone after some big recruits. You've gotten really close to a few guys. You've gotten some guys. I mean, how did you handle showing the facility, talking about the facility when that was where they were going to play?
We didn't. We tried. Honestly, we didn't bring many guys in there because unless, when there's people in there and it's rocking and you can kind of slide a guy in and it's game time and it's an SEC game and we're competitive and here we go, then again, these kids are high school kids, junior college kids. They're looking around saying, man, this is nice. This is exciting. But if you were to walk over there right now, it doesn't give you much excitement. So we didn't go in there a lot, didn't talk about it a lot. Since we've had the TUI Center, I think it's now 5 or 6 years, I lose track. That's kind of where we stayed, and we talked about, this is where you're going to be day in and day out. We're going to go over there and play the games, and it really doesn't matter where you play the games. We took that approach. You always take the approach that's in your best interest. Oh, it's just a game day facility. Who really cares? That conversation will change now.
Andy, you guys are obviously excited. I mean, your players, you guys are human. You'll be looking around at the venue. If you have a basketball game, you'll be playing. How do you balance or try to keep them focused on playing a game?
The thing that we do is we just don't allow it to become an excuse. I've made no bones about the fact that I live a pretty boring life. I mean, I'm into basketball 24/7, and I don't know in my memory if I've ever heard of a team doing what we're attempting to do, switching from one venue to another in mid-season. I've never heard of it. So it'd be easy to say, oh, wasn't that a disadvantage? I mean, your guys have only shot the ball in here. Today we're going to go full-fledged practice, with a lot of stuff going on. But I just think it's important to fall down on the floor and run into a chair and, sweat, maybe somebody bleed, hopefully, preferably not me or Moody, but somebody, somebody bleed, so we can get that out of us and say, hey, well, okay, this is home court. But we're just going to do what we do. I mean, it is what it is. So we haven't played in here, so what? It's like going on the road. It's not a big deal. I do feel like the people will be cheering for us, and that's really what a home court advantage is about.
From a basketball standpoint, the other night when you guys played Kentucky, I know they're obviously very good and talented and that kind of thing. Was that worst case for you guys when all the bigs get in foul
worst
trouble
case.
and start
That's a nightmare. When you're standing up where I was standing in that venue, my mom and dad were there. It was kind of sobering. My mom and dad had never been to Rupp Arena, and they drove up. And I didn't really want them to go because last year it was pretty competitive, and they said some mean things about me as the game was being competitive. They're pretty serious about their basketball, and they certainly don't want to lose. And I was like, do y'all really want to do this? I mean, because I'm going to sit you here, and you're going to hear everything. Now, my mom can't barely hear. God bless her. But I said, Dad, you're going to hear a lot of mean things now. I mean, they're going to say some mean things about your son. But he didn't have to hear one mean word. We took care of that. It was kind of a yawner. But it was the worst case scenario for me. We came out tentative. We missed some bunnies early. And 12-10, 14-11 goes to 27-14, and the game just gets away from you. We have foul trouble across the board. Let me tell you an interesting stat, and I had to dig hard to find something positive to come out of that game. But when Tomas Giallo was on the floor, we actually outscored him. And this despite our power forward not getting a rebound, which was not the game plan. But Sebas, AP, Tomas getting in all that foul trouble, we never were able to get into any kind of flow whatsoever. And then we allowed them to do what they do. They dominated us on the glass. We gave them live ball turnovers, which led to fast breaks, which led to dunks, which led to my mom and dad not having to endure mean things saying about their son. We get beat by 22, and it felt like 100.
Is the rebounding, they doubled you on the offensive boards, that kind of thing, is that, obviously they have bigs that are very talented, but how much of that was effort and execution?
They whipped us in a lot of areas. One-on-one just whipped us, and many times we didn't engage in the fight to the extreme we're going to have to. Really rebounding has not been a huge issue for us. I think we've been out-rebounded 2 or 3 times all year. Obviously, we haven't played anybody the caliber of Kentucky because of their length and athleticism, but we didn't engage in the fight, and some of that was the fact that we got shell-shocked. If you remember, a lot of people wanted to reflect upon last year, close game, you had a chance, didn't get it done. But the reality is Moody and Sebas are the only guys that were really in that battle. Newbie is Newbie. He's going to do what he does. Anthony barely played, and none of the rest guys were even on the team hardly. So when our core kind of got out of whack, Moody only took 2 shots in the first half. He kind of got out of whack a little bit, and the game just got away from us pretty quickly.
What are your impressions of Alabama?
They're a good team. Got quality wins. They beat a good Notre Dame team. They beat Wichita State, both in Orlando. They went to Clemson and won. They've won 7 of their last 8. They lost a kid, Dazon Ingram, who was their starting point guard, a Mobile kid, good player. Goes down with I think it was a stress fracture, lost for the season. And everybody thought, oh, man, this is going to be a big blow to them. But as a result, they've kind of galvanized and found themselves. They won 7 of 8, with their only loss being to an Oregon team that's pretty good in a neutral site by 4 while leading by 10 in the second half. So they're playing very good basketball. They've got a presence at the basket in Jimmy Taylor who can block shots. We're going to have to do a good job on him because he's long and he's athletic. They've got good guards. They've got a senior leader in Retno Obasahan who's been around forever. He makes plays. They play to their strength. They're not going to – it's a different type flow. They're not the most up-tempo team. They'll take it when they can, but – I think Avery's done a good job of finding the strength of his team and really trying to play to that.
You talked about how much it meant to you to close out Tad Smith with the win. What does it mean to open this place with the win?
Well, I just know that there's been momentum created. We'd won 7 in a row. The 10-3, honestly, coaches don't want to admit this in as you look forward. But in hindsight, you look at our team and I said, okay, where do we want to be leading into our SEC home opener? At Kentucky is going to be a tough one. But then in your non-league, would you have taken 10-2 and wouldn't have bounced the ball? I probably would have. I was hoping that in Charleston we could have gotten to the finals and played a Virginia, who was a top 10 ranked team at the time. Would have been a great experience. Didn't happen. But then if you'd have told me, okay, you're going to play 4 true road games and you're going to win them all, I would have probably taken 3-1 and wouldn't have bounced the ball. So it all worked out. We go to Kentucky, we get beat. Disappointing the way we played. But we're sitting here at 10-3 with an RPI in the mid-50s. We're in a league. The SEC is always going to say, oh, it's a bad year in SEC basketball. It's a bad year in SEC basketball. You're always going to hear that. I mean, I've heard it for 10 years. But the reality is there are 9 teams in the top 7 in the RPI as you enter league play, which means you have opportunities, many of which, based on our schedule, we have starting Thursday night. So I hope our team is excited about that. I know there's going to be energy in the building. I'm sure there's going to be some nervousness, which you wouldn't anticipate. But based on the circumstances, I know there's going to be a little bit of nervousness out of our guys. I hope we can settle in and play well. And obviously, the first game in this building will be remembered for 50 years from now. You certainly hope that it goes on in the right column.
You practiced in here once before, did you? You practiced here the other day?
We just shot in here last night. We just shot the ball because they had just kind of finished some things. And from yesterday to today, it's come a million miles, and I'm sure it's going to come a million miles tomorrow because obviously we've got to get ready to play. So we just shot the ball in here.
It was a full-fledged practice. What did you think of the shooting? Depth perception, things like that?
You know what? We got a lot of guys that can shoot it when they're not guarded, and nobody's in the building. The problem usually is when we got other big athletic guys running at you, and people in the building. They tend to freeze up a little bit. That's one of our biggest areas of concern. I kind of talked for you guys for months now about I thought we would be a more efficient offensive team, but we're not. We're 13th out of 14 in field goal percentage. We're 13 out of 14 in three-point percentage. We're not being as efficient as we're turning the ball over, more than is accustomed for us. So we got to get better offensively, because defensively we're going to have some issues as it relates to size and bulk along our front line. We knew that. It's the way this team is constructed based on some personnel things that happened to us that we couldn't fix. So for us, we've got to be better at what we do than ultimately try to counteract, some personnel problems that we're going to have along our front line. And I'm still confident that'll happen.
Andy, you mentioned the job. Do you feel like this building changes your personal expectations of yourself for this job?
Yeah, it does. I've already had this conversation with my staff yesterday. It changes everything. We've got to now. I'm a realist. You only got so many hours in the day. You've only got so much time. You only have so many resources. You only have so many visits. You only have so many games to try to get. you've always got to try to recruit a caliber kid that you don't think you can get, because if you don't, you're not going to get them. But if you don't spend time on plan B, then trust me, you're not going to be in this seat 10 years. I've been here. If I can survive, God willing, through this SEC season, I will have faced 33 different SEC head basketball coaches. It's a pretty volatile business. So I have to make wise choices as it relates to recruiting. Now I think, and I'm challenging my staff, our vision has to increase, because now we have a realistic chance that, quite frankly, we did not have before.
How many, I know I'm beating this to death, I'm just curious, how many, were there ever, feel free to cite examples, were there ever kids that you would have gotten had you had this building that maybe you finished second on because you just lost by a hair and stuff like that?
Unfortunately, and I wish it was even like baseball, but you don't even hit 30%. You don't hit 300 in recruiting, and go to the Hall of Fame. You're not hitting that number. If you can hit 20%, you're in pretty good shape. And typically, when kids decide to go elsewhere, a few, very, very, very few, will reach out and say, "Hey, Coach, thanks, and I'm gonna go elsewhere." But they never tell you why. They never say, "Hey, you know what? If your gym was a little better," but you also are realistic. We didn't have. You are dealing with very impressionable young kids, and they're going to compare apples to apples. We had a kid last year, and I don't want to mention his name because we're going to play him a little bit later in the year. We had a kid last year that I felt really, really confident we were going to get. We had done the most work. We had the best relationship. We had the best situation. We brought him to a game, and he was going to be a spring signee. And we brought him to the game, and after the game, it was, unfortunately, we had a weather situation, so what would normally have been a better crowd was not very good. And then he left our visit, and he went to our competitors. And they had not done the work that we did, but they got him. And they got him based on, in my mind, he went in there and he was blown away with the atmosphere and the excitement. And that cost us. And that's one small example. There's no question that Tad Smith has certainly not been beneficial as it relates to trying to recruit a high-level kid. Well, those days, thankfully, are over.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.